War is no fun in games. However, over the course of human history, we learn that war is going to happen whether we like it or we don't. So best believe horrific war stories will exist over the years after the war. I'm your host Andrew, and today we're going to talk about the top 10 scary war stories that are true. Coming at a number 10 spot, we have the Battle of Cold Harbor. Said to be one of the most haunted battlefields in the United States, it was here that over 150,000 men fought a long, gruesome battle, which ended up claiming the lives of 15,000 of them. As the war finished, it was reported that the lack of medical assistance led to dugouts being crammed with both the living and the dead, and those who passed away couldn't even get proper burials. The conditions of the battlefield made this place a living hell for those who had to fight in it, and now it's reported that those who visit the area experience paranormal occurrences such as smelling the distinct scent of burned gunpowder or a fog that would appear and disappear in the area, which could be resembling the thick gun smoke from the past battle. Other people report hearing the cries and the screaming of dying soldiers waiting for someone to bury them properly. Restless souls are scattered throughout the park, which is why it makes sense that people get an overwhelming sense of sorrow and fear when they walk on the field. Coming at number 9, we have the Clark Air Base Hospital. This is one of the few places deemed to be haunted not just in the Philippines but in the whole world, according to the Ghost Hunters International. Season 1 episode 20 named Unknown Soldiers, if you guys want to check out the episode. The hospital was used during World War II and the Vietnam War, and it also served as an asylum to the wounded and the dying American soldiers. This is why many people around the area claimed it was the most haunted place in the Philippines. It's said that the trauma and countless deaths from those conflicts have left their mark on the spirit's presence in the hospital. The place is currently abandoned, which kind of gives it this more supernatural look to it, but it's said that if you visit the hospital and sleep within 8 hours after the visit, you'll experience extreme nightmares and even intense lucid dreaming for a whole entire week. Number 8, napalm. The Vietnam War had its fair share of destructive weapons, but nothing came close to napalm, which could have been the worst weapon to be used in a war since the atomic bomb. Napalm, in simple terms, is basically liquid fire or firebomb fuel gel mixture. It often used to have a gelling powder composed of naphthalene and palmitate mixed with gasoline to form a sticky combustible substance. Its sticky nature is the whole reason why it's so devastating, because when it was released, the substance would stick onto its victims all while burning them alive, or at least causing them 4th or 5th degree burns. The area napalm can cover is up to 2,500 square yards, which could be completely engulfed in fire. The reason for these bombs in the first place was to support ground troops and to demoralize the enemy. I mean, burning alive has got to be one of the worst ways to go, and seeing this fire would truly be like seeing hell on earth. It eventually got banned in 1980 by the United Nations and listed as a war crime. Glad to see this one is gone, but the fact that we got to see its powers is truly terrifying for what comes next in the future. Number 7, the Belitz Hospital. This scary looking military hospital is located in Belitz, Germany. The hospital is situated near Berlin in this little town called Belitz. It was originally built at the beginning of the 20th century to treat tuberculosis, with the entire facility comprising around 60 buildings. And for its time there, it had many deaths coming from the illness. It was then used as a military hospital during the World Wars, and it was also used for German experiments during World War II. During the final days of the war, the facility was captured by the Soviet forces and became their biggest military treatment center outside of Russia until 1994. Small parts of it are still in use for neurological research and treatment, but most are left abandoned. Its last reported use was around 1994 to 1995. Now the place looks downright creepy. With its dark hallways and its peeling paints, this is a place you definitely don't want to go. Number 6, the Sinsan Massacre. Now before I get this one started, this one is all up for speculation. North Korea said this happened while the US said it was falsified. And we all know about the lies that North Korea produces. But forget about that, we just care about the North Korean side today. They claim that a mass murder took place in 1950 during the Korean War. In the town of Sinsan, American soldiers supposedly took the lives of over 35,000 civilians in the course of 52 days. If this was true, this would make it one of the most deadliest massacres in all of history, but that's if. Now this event is memorialized in the Sinsan Museum of American War Atrocity. Yup, there's a museum on horrible violent acts, and some of the paintings in here are pretty disturbing, so I'll just give you guys a little bit of a snippet. In the hump of our list, we have Operation Wandering Soul. The sounds coming from the Vietnam War definitely ranks one of the highest in terms of pure horror. With the Viet Cong hiding in the dense jungles, nowhere to be seen, Americans knew they had to bring their morale down without the use of firearms. So in the middle of the night, they would commence Operation Wandering Soul. This was a way for Americans to demoralize the Viet Cong by playing these eerie sounds and altered voices on these loud speakers. These sounds were supposed to mimic a wandering soul. Because in Vietnamese culture, if a proper burial is not done, the soul of the deceased will wander the earth as a malevolent spirit, and during the Vietnam War, many soldiers didn't get proper burial. The most famous of the recordings was named Ghost Tape Number 10, and the best way to explain it is just to play it for you guys. Number 4. Bloody Bucket Bridge. During the time of the Civil War, an African-American couple moved and settled into Wauchula, Florida. The woman worked as a midwife and she was pretty content with her situation. As time went on, the wife started to act unstable, and it was all due to the memory of her own child being stripped from her during the Civil War. Haunted by the event, she took it on her own to suffocate babies as they were being born. And what's worse is that she told the parents that it was a stillbirth. Then it said that she would take the remains of the baby to her husband, who would help her grind them up and place them in a bucket. Later, she would take these buckets to the bridge and dump them over into the water, hence Bloody Bucket Bridge. People claim that if you visit the bridge on a full moon night, the water will appear red in color, looking like the blood of the baby she took. Number 3. Genghis Khan. If you don't think Genghis Khan is a scary guy, you're just privileged you don't live in his time period. First of all, he is responsible for the deaths of over 40 million people, and he is arguably the greatest military leader of all time because of it. The Khan regime at its peak covered over 9 million square miles of territory, which ranged from Central Asia to places as far as Poland and Korea. The reason he was able to take over this much area was largely due to the way he commanded his army, their ruthlessness, tactic, and extraordinary speed. In one example, Khan's son-in-law was killed by a stray arrow during 1221. He then took his whole army and attacked the city of Nishapur, which is modern day Iran, and it was said that he killed everybody in the city, which was believed to be 1.75 million people in a single hour. The victims were beheaded and their skulls were piled up in a large pyramid in the middle of the town. His campaign would prove to be more evil than death alone, but we don't need to mention anything else. Besides destroying entire civilization, Genghis Khan's conquest may have also helped to spread the bubonic plague all across Asia and Europe, thus killing another 75 to 200 million people. Glad to know we don't have this type of guy around today. Number 2. The Antietam Battlefield. Combine advanced technology with unstructured tactics and poor decision making, and you have the Battle of Antietam, otherwise known as the bloodiest single day in American history. For those who don't know, this is the battle that wounded or took the lives of 23,000 people. And remember, that's in one single day. The iconic Bloody Lane is the spot where both sides met and fought for their lives. It was a sunken part of the road, and considering it was where the most activity was, it's understandable that many bodies were stacked on this road, hence the name Bloody Lane. Gunfire and the smell of gunpowder have been reported in the area even when there's no one around to this day. The most convincing of the reports is some of Baltimore schoolboys who walked Bloody Lane and heard singing out in the fields. They said it sounded like a chant or even a Christmas song decked the halls. Number 1. The Nottingham Road Hotel. The railway hotel was first completed in 1891 and soon blooming socially, and then it also served as a popular stop for British soldiers during the Boer War. Today, the railway hotel has now been named the Nottingham Road Hotel, and a lot of things happened at this hotel. This hotel is supposedly haunted by a ghost named Charlotte. Charlotte was a beautiful lady who served the man during the war, so one day she supposedly fell in love with the soldier, and then he ended up passing away. A deeply saddened Charlotte then threw herself off the balcony, leading to her demise. So now she haunts the hotel and has been spotted by many guests over the years. The balcony she was staying at and jumped off of was at room 10, and this is where most of the paranormal activity is said to have happened. Guests in the room report seeing her on the balcony still, and sometimes they would claim that she would fold their clothes for them. Sightings of Charlotte are common, with even surveillance showing a ghostly white woman appearing in the bars, around the corridors, and even down the stairs. Well, these are the top 10 scary war stories that are true. What do you guys think about this list? Should we do some more war stuff? Let me know in the comment section below. Like and subscribe to this page for some more content. I'm your host Andrew, and I hope you guys have a scary day.